Find of the main features of the accent. British English is a kind of the English language which is used in Great Britain. It is one of the two most popular kinds of English in the world. The other one is American English. The biggest difference between British English and American English is in pronunciation. Different in vocabulary and grammar are quite small. People who speak British and American English can easily understand each other. British English consists of many regional kind of English. For example, people in London, Newcastle, Glasgow, and Manchester speak English in different ways. People told about teaching of learning British English. They usually think of a standard of British English called the Queen's English. The pronunciation accent of the Queen's English is called received pronunciation. Received pronunciation is the pronunciation of the British upper class. Received pronunciation is the pronunciation model taught to the foreigners described in English dictionary and used at the oldest university, such as Oxford and Cambridge. Who speak received pronunciation? Apart from the British upper class, most educated people in the south of England, actor, TV personality, politician, and English teacher speak something similar to received pronunciation. Variation exists in formal writing English in the United Kingdom. For example, the adjective we is almost exclusively used in part of Scotland, North East England, Ireland, and occasionally Yorkshire, whereas little is predominant elsewhere. Nevertheless, there is general uniformity in writing English within the United Kingdom, and this could be described by the term British English. The form of spoken English, however, vary considerably, more than in most other areas of the world where English is spoken, so a uniform concept of the British English is more difficult to apply to the spoken language.
And in historical background and influence. The history of the English really started with the arrival of the Germanic tribes, who invaded British during the 5th century AD. This tribe, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, crossed the North Sea from what today is Denmark and northern Germany. At that time, the inhabitants of the British spoke and cultured language, but most of the cultured speakers were passed west and north by invaders, mainly into what is now Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. The Angles came from England, and their language was called English, from which the word England and English derived. Old English. The invading Germany tribes spoke similar languages, which, if reading, developed into what we now call Old English. Old English did not sound or look like English today. Native English speakers now would have great difficulty understanding Old English. Nevertheless, about half of the most commonly used words in the modern English have Old English roots. The words be, strong, and the weather, for example, derived from English. Old English was spoken until around 1100. Middle English. In 1066, William the Conqueror, the Duke of the Normandy, invaded and conquered England. The new conquerors brought with them a kind of French, which became the language of the royal court and the ruling and business classes. For a period, there was a kind of linguistic class division where the lower classes spoke English and the upper class spoke French. In the 14th century, English became dominant in Britain again, but with many French words added. This language is called Medieval English. It was language of the great poet Chaucer, but it still be difficult for native English speakers to understand today.
Modern English, early modern English. Towards the end of Middle English, a sudden and distinct change in pronunciation started, with vowels being pronounced shorter. From the 16th century, the British had contact with many peoples from around the world. This meant that many new words and phrases entered the language. The invention of printing also meant that there was no a common language in print. Books became cheaper and more people learned to read. Printing also brought standardization to English. Spelling and grammar became fixed, and the dialect of London, where most publishing houses were, became the standard. In the 17th century, the first English dictionary was published. Late Modern English. The main difference between early modern English and late modern English is vocabulary. Late modern English has many more words, arising from two principal factors. First, the Industrial Revolution and technology create a need for new words. Second, the British Empire covered 1/4 of Earth's surface, and the English language adopted foreign words from many countries.
Give examples and person evidence. Below are some slang words to get you started to learn British English. Some words that are fine to use in Britain may be considered offensive in other places. We will explain all of that. Number 1. Chuffed. When someone is chuffed, they are very pleased or happy about something. For example, I'm absolutely chuffed with my birthday present. Thanks. Number 2. Knackered. Knackered means that someone is extremely tired. This comes from knacker, which is an older word. For example, I've been up half of the night with the baby. I'm thoroughly knackered. Number 3. Cheeky. When someone is cheeky, it means that they are being a little rude or disrespectful, but usually in a way that is funny and endearing. For example, that is a cheeky smile. Are you up to something? It can also be used if you are eating, drinking, or doing something that you may shouldn't or that is not good for you. For example, I'm just going to have a cheeky burger on the way home. Number 4. Fag. In American English, fag is a derogatory term for someone who is gay. In British slang, however, it just means a cigarette. For example, I'm going outside for a fag. Number 5. Kappa. Kappa comes from the phrase kappa. The implied meaning is a cup of tea. The word tea is not actually needed. You only need to make it clear if it is a kappa coffee or a kappa something other than tea. For example, would you like a kappa? Number 6. Gutted. The original meaning of gut is to remove the inside of an animal before eating it. It also has the meaning of being bitterly disappointed about something. For example, I was gutted when I failed the exam. Number 7. Gagging. The original meaning of this word is shocking or retching. However, it also means to desperately need or want something. For example, I'm gagging for a kappa. I haven't had one all day. Number 8. Bloody. In standard English, bloody usually refers to something covered in blood. In British slang, though is an intensifier and a mild expletive. For example, bloody British English is bloody confusing. Why do they have so much bloody slang?
Here are a few descriptions of some of the accent and dialect to help you tell the difference between various UK accents. The Manchester or Mancunian accent, appropriately the Manchester dialect and accent Mancunian, originates from those who reside in the northwest England city of Manchester and this surrounding area. Some characteristics of the sound include dropping the R and T and the end of words. The T is also dropped with is in the middle of the word of the substitute with a glottal stop. Another characteristic also includes dropping the H sound at the beginning of a word. So a word like hand become and. The Cockney accent. This is London accent is technically reserved for those who are born within earshot of vowels, which are the vowels of Saint Mary le Bow. In the Shepside district, however, Cockney is also sometimes used to describe the accent of London's working class. One of the distinguishing characteristics of Cockney is the replacement of the th sound with an off sound. For example, funk. Some more like funk, they may also drop the h sound as well, making words such as half sound more like half. The London accent. Now that you are starting to get an image of the diversity of accent in UK, you may not be surprised to learn that a London accent isn't a real thing either. Or either. It is not just one sound, but at least three. Cockney mentioned above originates from East England, and story is another accent from London, referring especially to those who lie around the river. Is the third accent you are like to find in London? According to pronunciation studio, a story speaker will certainly drop the H in faction words, particularly where they appear in the middle of sentences.
Pronunciation differences between British English and American English. One of the main difficulties a foreigner student may face when learning English pronunciation is the remarkable variety of accents. Like many other languages spoken in such a vast territory and by so many people, spoken English presents wide variation in pronunciation. The main differences are the presence of rhotic accent, differences in vowel pronunciation, differences in consonant pronunciation. This mainly involves the different pronunciation of letter T. Change of stress. This comprises the change of stress in French loanwords and certain suffixes such as ate and eatery. Differences in articulation. American English has a clear tendency to pronounce unstressed syllables where British English does not show such a disposition. Rhotic accent. The presence of the rhotic accent is one of the most noticeable differences between British and American English. Except for New York City and the area of Boston, American English is rhotic. British English is largely non-rhotic, save for Scotland and Ireland. Rhotic accent refers to the manner letter R is pronounced after a vowel within a syllable, as in words such as heart, born, or here. Now we are going to watch a video then explain it.
Heard,
Heard,
work,
work,
turn,
turn,
world,
world,
Differences in vowel pronunciation. Change of diphthong O to O. The shift from the British diphthong O to O is also very distinguishing. The shift consisted in the change of the mid-central and rounded vowel E to the close mid-back rounded vowel O in the first vowel of the diphthong. This shift is considered to be systematic. Now we are going to watch a video then explain it.
Great. Let's start with the O diphthong. This is the sound we use. O.
The sound used in British English, however, is the schwa and the as in pull sound. We say no, no. And in British, it's
No,
don't go alone. In British English,
don't go alone.
the ah vowel. In American English, there are many words that have the letter O representing the ah as in father vowel. In British English, however, in these words where the O represents the ah, there is a different vowel sound. For example, I say hot. Minu says
Hot,
honest.
honest.